Okay. So if you have any questions, definitely feel free to put them in the chat as we go throughout. We will ask the council if they're specific to each council, or Nadir and I can answer those for you guys. So here's our outline today. We're going to talk about who we are, what we do in the office, and then we're going to talk about our basic information or general overview for just fraternity and story life in general. So the three councils that we have here, a representative from each will be here to answer questions and talk about their councils, how to get involved, that kind of thing. And then we'll open up for questions at the end. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat throughout, and we'll see if we can answer them. So we'll get started. I just love this meme, so I thought we'd put that in here. So I'm Travis. I'm the Assistant Director for Fraternity and Story Life, which is under the Center for Student Involvement. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. And I oversee specifically the Interfraternity Council and co-advise the Intercultural Greek Collective. And then I sort of do the reporting for the office, grade reports, annual reports, things like that. And we meet frequently with the chapter presidents on a frequent basis. And I'll let Nadir do his intro.
Hey y'all, good afternoon. My name is Nadir McCoy. I serve as the coordinator for Fraternity Sorority Life within the Center for Student Involvement. For me, I am the primary Panhellenic advisor, and then alongside Travis, I co-advise our Intercultural Greek Collective. And in addition to those things, I also do the programming for the office. So some of the things that you'll see throughout the year, like NHPW, National Hazing Prevention Week, and then hopefully some programs in the spring around Value Celebration Week, and what that looks like in March as well. So be on the lookout for anything like that from our office, and usually it'll be from Travis and I on that level.
All right, so this is just an overview of who we are. Nadir, is this you or me? I can't remember.
And I got this one. So yeah, this is like Travis said, an overview of who we are. As FSL, we are a branch of the Center for Student Involvement, which also includes other student organizations as well as student media and our student programming boards like AUCC as a funding board and SUB as our programming board. Here at AU, organizations are all recognized under the Center for Student Involvement, and so want to engage recognized organizations are all the ones that you can see and interact with. And like I said, Fraternity Story Life is under those. And so when you go on Engage, you're going to see not only the Cheese Club and the Happy Club, but you're also going to see all the fraternities and sororities, just like you will once we go into the second section of the program today. Overall, we have 3 councils. Our first council is the is the Interfraternity Council. This is our group of men's fraternities. We also have the Intercultural Greek Collective. This is a combination of sororities and fraternities. All of these organizations are culturally based, and so you'll get to hear a little bit from them as well. And then the Panhellenic Council, which is our group of all sororities. You'll also get to hear from them as well. In addition, though, to our 2 councils, we have 2 coalitions that are completely student-led. Those are the Greek Wellness Coalition, or GWC. Their focus are on more of our umbrella terms, so anti-hazing and sexual assault awareness and those kind of things. But then we also have Greeks United for Inclusivity, Diversity, and Equity, or GUIDE for short. Some of our leadership here is a part of that board, so they may mention it, and you may see them around in that capacity as well. But Greeks United for Inclusivity, Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity is exactly what it sounds like. That is our group that focuses on tasks, more like a task force year by year, so that we can continue to move the community forward in a positive way.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about where we are structured and kind of give you an overview of where CSI is as well. So for the Center for Student Involvement, we got a bunch of different branches. So we have student media organizations, so like TV, radio, magazines, so like the Eagle, Black Print, WVAU, those types of student media groups. Then we have student government, so that is Women's Initiative, Kennedy Political Union, and all that, Senate and all that. Then we have Club Council for all the non-fraternity and sorority life organizations. So that would be the Cheese Club, College Republicans, College Democrats, those types of organizations under there. And then fraternity and sorority life is the other umbrella underneath that. And then we do have connections with the Campus Labs and Engage platform that we'll talk about. And then the Finance Center, which works with all of these organizations underneath the CSI umbrella.
So then in addition to that kind of breakdown of our overall office, there is the breakdown of just FSL. So like I said, Travis and I oversee a couple councils individually, and then we co-advise another. The only person who's missing with us today is our FSL graduate assistant. We will be hiring one soon, fingers crossed. But that person is going to be the direct connection to GWC and Guide, which I mentioned earlier. So when Travis clicks, you'll see the kind of breakdown just like he did in the last slide. There you go.
So overall requirements. So these are requirements for any of our organizations. So if you have a question about specific council requirements, they may have additional ones, but these are the general requirements to join any of our organizations. So the first one is you have to be a full-time matriculated undergraduate student. So if you're a grad student or if you're not full-time, just make sure that you keep that into mind when you're going through the recruitment process. The next thing is you have to be good standing with conduct and good disciplinary standing. So that means you can't have disciplinary probation on your file for any number of reasons. It can be from residence halls, it can be from conduct or Title IX. You have to have at least 12 credit hours under your belt at AU after high school graduation. So if you graduate this past May, you technically won't be eligible until spring of this year, this academic year. If you are transfer students, we'll talk about that. But this doesn't include AP, IB, or dual enrollment. Excuse me. So like I said, it has to be after you have graduated high school. So if you have like an AA degree, or if you have 30 credits because you did that in high school, it has to be after you have graduated. And transfer students, you are eligible. You just have to provide us a copy of your unofficial transcript so that way we can confirm your eligibility. And the other thing is you have to have at least a 2.5 GPA. We make this a requirement because we want great leaders into our organizations, and we want to make sure that we have a good representation of who we are. So we have to have at least a 2.5 GPA before you are joining an organization. And then just note, some organizations or councils may have additional requirements or more stringent requirements depending on their specific chapter. So for example, for Panhellenic, you have to go to all the events that you were invited to. Or for IGC, you have to specifically contact those organizations yourself. So that's a little bit of a nuance between each of the organizations.
So in addition to the kind of how to get involved are some of the programs that we do for the internal community, in addition to those ones that I mentioned that are for the AU community at large. So the first one is New Member Series. This is completely focused on new members. So any of y'all that would be interested in and actually end up joining in the near future. And this will just be to get you acclimated to the community, as well to get you more acclimated to us and the people who are going to serve as resources for you as a brand new member. The other one is going to be the Emerging Leaders Institute. So kind of similar, we're looking at people who are new additions to their chapter, but are really looking to gain some leadership skills, to build some confidence, and really get a kickstart to their experience in FSL, but then also that can be translated to their other activities and extracurriculars on campus. The third one that we have is going to be Greek Presidents Council. So exactly that for presidents, but this is going to be our time for presidents to come together and really make some determinations on what the future of the community looks like, as well as have some of those discussions that, that impact the community overall. And then the last one is going to be our FSL Talks. FSL Talks is for our general membership. The goal of that is to, again, bring in as many people as we can to discuss all of the topics that we've brought up and that have come up over the summer. And then be able to create a plan more so together and be able to come together and really just move forward. And then that's kind of it for our internal programs. A couple things to keep in mind are, like Travis said, academics are really important, but FSL community definitely strives to continue this trend, which is for academics, the all FSL average is just above a 3.6, whereas the all undergraduate average for AU is just above a 3.3. Basically what that means is that members in the community perform a little bit better than the average AU student, which we think is something that is a little bit of a sell, right? Because we're all here for academics. We're all here to excel in that same kind of way. The next thing is gonna be the cost. And so you hear a lot about dues, or you hear a lot about barriers to entry. And so we, as FSL and as councils and as chapters, all review these things and look at what is reasonable. And we're all flexible. We're willing to work with you if this is something that you're really interested in and that you really want to pursue. And so here you have a breakdown of the average cost per council. This is going to be a range depending on the chapter and the council that you talk to. But you can go ahead and like screenshot this as a little bit of a gauge. And as you talk to chapters, definitely ask that question and be honest about what your situation is so that they can be honest in helping you out and supporting you in your pursuit.
One of the, oh, sorry.
Go for it.
The specific piece is all of these prices are per semester except for the IGC new member fee. That has a one-time flat rate, and then per chapter, it'll be a per semester rate. So that's the breakdown here.
Mm-hmm. Travis is absolutely right. And then the other piece is that COVID-19 may impact future dues and future dates as well. So there's something to keep in mind that with COVID happening continuously, seems like everything does get impacted. FSL is no different. We have been impacted by this as well. And then the last thing on this slide is housing. We are a small private school, which y'all know. Many of the larger schools have housing and on-campus housing specifically. We don't. We do ask that organizations report to us when there are more than just a few members in any individual house, but there is no official housing for any organization on campus or off campus for AU.
So I want to walk you through how to find some of these organizations, just so you know where to go. So I'm sure you've heard of Engage. So this is the website up at the top. You'll click on the sign in button. And then once you're logged in, you'll see organizations at the tab, and you click on organizations. You can search by different categories. You can search by keyword or any of the number of words that you think that might be helpful. And then you can see them through the list there. And then once you find the organization, you'll see their profile. You'll see the pictures, you'll see the contact information, if there's a general email or phone number that you can call or contact. And then below that, you'll see their social media handles or their websites. That little globe is like a website. So if they have a separate website that they have, you can definitely go to that as well. The only thing missing on here, just because I'm obviously a member of this portal, you'll see the join link. It's going to be a blue right next to the contact button. So I am going to turn it over to our three council representatives. First up is going to be Tyler from IFC.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tyler Jacobs. I am, as Travis said, the president of IFC. I have a whole council behind me. My VP of Judicial Affairs is Evan Antonise. My VP of Programming is Max Auger. My VP of Finance is Talmaj Krom. And my VP of Recruitment is Ben Campione. Together, individually rather, we all come from different chapters, but on IFC, we're working collectively to better all the chapters at AU, and that's who we are. We have 12 active chapters on our campus right now. All of them are social men's fraternities. All of them have varying requirements and whatnot, and you can definitely look into that at your own will when we go into the breakout section after this. But I kind of want to just talk a little bit about what IFC does as an organization. There's really three kind of main objectives. The first is that first and foremost, we are a governing body. So we have delegate and president's meetings on a bi-weekly schedule. We're in the process of creating our own judicial board that would enable us to be self-governing, which would be super cool. The next thing we do, which is why you're here if you are, is that we run the recruitment period. So that happens every semester. You kind of just heard a bit about the kind of rules and regs from Travis, but there are some dates I'll talk about in just a minute that are important to know. And the last thing is that we represent all of the IFC communities. So that's all 12 of those chapters, whether that's to the NIC, the National Interfraternity Council, or just AU's admin, or the public, regular students, whatever. So just real quick, there are some important dates to mention on the next slide.
Was it the next one? Perfect.
All right, well, apparently that's not all of them, but on the September 17th is when our recruitment period this semester is going to start. We're going to open that up with a virtual IFC panel. So that's not just going to be me or my council. That's going to be a select group of individuals from across all of the chapters that can knowledgeably speak on what it's like to be involved in Greek life at AU. And then after that will be the normal Meet the IFC, which will be similar to what we're going to do shortly, where you'll have an opportunity to get a chance to talk to the brothers from different chapters and see where you fit best. The next day, September 18th to the 23rd, that is the entirety of the open recruitment period. So during that time, chapters will have, they'll have different events, all of which are virtual this semester, unfortunately, but there's some pretty great planning happening, so look forward to that. And the last thing, which didn't make it on here for some reason, but September 24th is bid day. So that's the day that you will receive the bids from the chapters that want you to join them. And from there, you'll have 24 hours to decide which organization you want to become a part of, if any, and then your new member process will begin after that.
Great. The next person that we have up is Tamir from Intercultural Greek Collective.
Hey everyone, my name is Samir. I am the VP for IGC and a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated New Beta Chapter. IGC houses 6 fraternity and sororities: Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, also known as AKAs, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, also known as the Noops. And I actually think their president is with us today. And where was I? Lambda Pi Chi Sorority Incorporated, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, and Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. We house majority of the Divine Nine and fraternity and sororities that are driven and targeted specifically for students of color on campus. So definitely check us out. Our IG, our Facebook is there, as well as our email. We'll be dropping some events soon. Our president is Diana and our programming chair is Demetrius, both strong individuals that will ensure that IGC continues to push on. Follow the respective organizations in social media if you want to know about their intake process, because each fraternity and sorority is different, and we'll have lines or intakes during different times of the semester. As of right now, from My knowledge, no one is doing a fall intake at this moment, but stay tuned to their social medias so that you can find out if they might end up doing a fall and if they'll be doing a spring or if they'll be doing a line in the following year.
Great. So the next person that we have is Anna from Panhellenic.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anna. I am the acting president of Panhellenic, and I also serve as the vice president of operations and finance. And then I serve on our executive board along with Abby, who's the vice president of event programming, and we're currently we're currently electing new members to fill our board. We have 7 active chapters on our campus: Alpha Chi Omega, Alpha Epsilon Phi, Chi Omega, Delta Gamma, Phi Mu, Sigma Delta Tau, and Sigma Kappa. As a council and executive board, we oversee and support our chapters. All of our chapters are part of the National Panhellenic Conference, also known as NPC. We help plan and execute formal recruitment, which will happen in January. We also represent our chapters at university events, and we are a bridge between the university administration and the community. We put on programming for our chapters and sometimes just the community as a whole about diversity inclusion, hazing prevention, career development, and others. We also work with the other 2 councils to promote social Greek life and establish relationships. The next slide. We value service a lot. All of our chapters have their own philanthropies. All of them have national philanthropies that come from their headquarters, and some have local as well. They put on events each semester. Obviously, that's going to look a little different now that we're virtual. And we also do fundraising. We will host service days on occasion as well. We also have a lot of leadership opportunities within our chapters and within our community, and our members hold a lot of positions around campus as well. We also value knowledge and scholarship. We have, as Nadir and Travis mentioned before, a higher average GPA than the campus average, and we also really value friendship and building those bonds between our members, not only within your chapter, but also within others. And we know that this semester is going to look a little different, and especially for our first years. And so we hope to be able to provide an environment where people feel like they can be themselves and can meet people who share values rather than interests. And I think that's what really sets not only Panhellenic, but also just social Greek life in general apart from other organizations, is that we're bonded by values and not interests. So you get to meet people who you wouldn't normally come in contact with. And I met some of my closest friends who I would have never met if it weren't for Panhellenic. And they're not only in my chapter, but in other chapters as well, which I think is really special. So our chapters, we have 9, 7 are active and going to be recruiting in the spring. We will have formal recruitment in January. We'll be posting about that on our social media. So we usually have informal recruitment in the fall, but it's looking like we aren't going to, just because of COVID and all of the craziness that comes with being virtual. Formal recruitment is open to everyone, as Travis and Nadir said, that have over 12 credits. And it's going to be most likely completely virtual. And so we're working with chapters now to transition to this new format, and we're very excited. We're definitely going to have it. It's just going to look a little different this year. And then most of our chapters have nicknames, so if you hear those around, I just had them listed. And you can follow us on social media, and we post about our chapters and our events, and we're going to be having more events this semester. We're hoping to have not only recruitment events, but others that are open to potential new members or just anyone in the community. And if you have any questions, I monitor the Instagram and the Facebook. And so if you send a message, I will make sure to get back to you. You can message our Facebook, our Instagram, or you can also send us an email.
Great. So that is all that we have. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We can start off with one question that we got already. So just to clarify, if I'm a freshman and I have dual enrollment or AP credits, but nothing at AU yet, can I participate in recruitment, or do I need 12 additional hours? That is correct. Yes, you do need 12 additional hours here at the university. And again, if you're a transfer student, you're still eligible. All you need to do is just send us an unofficial transcript with the email here on your screen. And that way we can confirm that. But yes, all 3 of our councils have that requirement. Any other questions? Anyone have a question for any of the council members that we have here specifically? Give it a few seconds for people to type. So someone said, so is recruitment happening during the 18th through the 23rd? So that was from IFC, and that's only if you are meeting those requirements. So if you have the 12 credit hours and you have a 2.5 GPA and all of the checks, then yes, for recruitment for IFC, that is the date. So if you're not eligible this semester, it'll be happening in the spring, and we don't have those dates yet for IFC specifically. Any other questions? If AU goes online for the spring too, will this affect any recruitment, or will it just move to virtual? Same thing, yep, if it does go to virtual, we will most likely be virtual. We'll probably make that decision in late October, early November, so that way y'all can plan for travel or internet or anything that you have personally that's going on within the breaks of winter break. Anna, do you have any other specifics? Let me unmute you.
Yeah, so no matter, for Panhellenic at least, if we go online in the spring, we are still going to have recruitment. We are most likely going to be doing virtual recruitment, and it's going to be the first weekend, the weekend before classes start in January. So that's like the 7th through the 10th of January. And so no matter what happens with AU, we're still going to be having formal recruitment.
So someone asked if we don't meet all the requirements, should we still go to some of the informal recruitment events this semester, or should we wait? You can, if it is an open event for any potential member to join, but remember, in order to go through the recruitment process, you have to have met all those requirements. So if it's a formalized process, then yes, you still have to follow those requirements. Tyler has his hand up, so let me unmute you.
Yeah, I just wanted to add real quick onto that point. There was a few people last fall who had planned to do recruitment and go through it in hopes to join my fraternity, except that they were ineligible, but they still came to all the events, they still got to know us, and then come the next semester, they rushed us and they got a bid really easily. So, I mean, those are all things to keep in mind, and just not limit yourself because of one thing.
One of the recommendations that we have as the office is to keep an open mind. While some organizations may be in contact with you, like, don't let that be your one and only organization that you communicate with. We definitely want you to explore some of the options that we do have on campus, specifically with some of our culture-based organizations, with IGC, and explore all that is offered to you as well.
And Panhellenic also encourages you to get to know all chapters and all of our chapters and the rest of social Greek life. We just feel like it's best to come into the formal recruitment process if you choose to do that with an open mind, because especially for the way our process works, you do go to every organization and you have a chance to go back and join every organization. And so we really encourage people to meet everyone. And I know that chapters really enjoy meeting PNM or potential new members before recruitment starts. And so we would highly encourage people to go to events if they see them and if they're available. It's really nice to kind of get to know all of the chapters. And I mean, I think that goes for other organizations on campus as well.
And the only thing that I'll add is just to put it into a kind of story perspective. If someone comes to your house, are you going to open the door if you don't know who they are? Think about the organizations the same kind of way. You have to get to know them, and they also want to get to know you. And the best way to do that is going to be to follow them on social media, attend their events when possible, and just interact and build those relationships, because the last thing you want is to come up to the doorstep of one of the organizations and they look at you and they're like, well, we don't know you, and so we can't welcome you in. So definitely interact, do everything that you can to just be involved, and they will offer you that opportunity every chance they get. So again, just being connected is going to be your absolute best way to interact with any of the organizations in any council.
Yeah, Nadir said it perfectly. Definitely for IGC spots, don't try to enter our houses without interacting with us before. It's that's a real thing. We want to know who is becoming, specifically for Alpha, we want to know who's going to possibly become our brothers. Definitely in a new beta chapter, and I'm sure that's throughout the entire IGC organization. Also something to mention of if you're interested in joining Greek life, you should definitely be hitting up Guide, because you don't have to be in Greek life to be part of Guide. So you should definitely be hitting up aufsl@american.edu to join Guide, because we are looking for folk to join us. So yeah.
Yeah, the biggest advice and tips for anyone that's just interested is just go to their social media pages, see what events they have, and see if they're open, and just get to know them through some of those events that they have. Because obviously we want to know you before we have you into our organizations, and so that's one way that they can have an opportunity for you to get to know them. So check out their social media event pages and stuff like that. Check their Engage pages in case they have events within the Engage platforms, those types of things. Another question is, will this be recorded? And if so, how do we get this information? Yes, we are recording. We'll be putting this on our website, so that way people can see the entire presentation, especially with all the different information and the different councils. We're definitely going to be posting that. Yes. Okay, well, I am going to share my screen, not this presentation one. So I can show you how to find the organization's individual Zoom links if you haven't participated in a virtual fair before. So let me pull that up. Okay, so you are on the American University website with the Engage platform. And then once you're on this platform, you're gonna go to events at the top. And then you'll see this first event here, the Fsl Meet the Greeks. And then when you click on it, you'll see all the different organizations that are offered or that have a Zoom link today. Some might not be available, but some still have a link, but maybe post on their social media saying that they're going to be free later. You can meet them online. Since I'm a current member, you'll see click to join or request to join. And then they'll probably contact you to say, hey, here's our specific requirements, or here's how to apply, or things like that. And then you can keep scrolling down and see all the ones that are going to be available here online. If they're not available online, you can still contact them through the Engage platform. But this is definitely how you can look into the organizations that you want to talk to today. Any last minute questions or thoughts before we depart? Great. Well, thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you in the future. Thank you. Alana, if you want to stay on, I can answer your question. Alana, so yes, when you, if you want to talk to someone today, you can click on the link to say meet online, and then you can specifically talk to those people that are here today. But if not, you can request to join and they can contact you later. Hope that answers your question. Okay.